Dat kan niet dit plot. Ek is bang dis nie soveel mense sal hierso. Julle weet julle is lekker vroeg. Geniet hierdie tydjie. Ons sal stiptelik 1:15 begin soos die program sê. Maar julle kan vir nou die chats gebruik as julle enige vrae het. Ek sal die chat stop en lees. Verstellings maak. Okay, ek hoop ek spreek dit reg uit. Moreel, jy kan net jou skerm gryp en heeltemal aan die linkerkant trek. En dan maak jy zoom in die helfte en dan maak jy aan die regterkant oop Desmos. Ek het in die e-pos wat ek gestuur het, het ek so 'n video gestuur, kyk, YouTube skakel, kyk of jy dit reg kry. Andersins, 'n plan probeer maak. Ek gaan maar vir nou so reageer terwyl julle vra het, so julle het nou tyd om struikelblokke uit die weg te ruim, maar gebruik die chat funksie vir dit. So ek dink dit sal reg wees as hy by Desmos Labs oop is, of jy kan net by die gewone een oop wees. Ek weet nou nie wat jou naam is, want hier staan IT romp. Maar ek neem aan jou ouers het jy nie IT romp genoem nie. Sorry, Louise. Ja, so ek dink jy is reg waar jy nou is, maar Steve sal ons in elk geval mooi verduidelik waarna toe ons moet gaan. Mariel, vir nou kan jy net Zoom oophou. En dan kan jy dalk toggle tussen Zoom en Desmos, maar vir nou net Zoom. Sou reg wees. Ons sit nou in die personeelkamer, ons wag nou vir die vergadering. Dit is nou doen. Ek kan julle dalk gou vinnig gebruik as guinea pigs, dit sal baie gaaf wees. Ek wil gou my Zoom skerm share, dan gaan ek julle vra om vir my of so te wys. Ek wil kyk of, want gewoonlik as jy Zoom skerm share, dan wys hy nie Zoom self nie, so ek gaan hom nou share, met die hoop dat julle my Zoom skerm kan sien. Sien julle my Zoom skerm? Of sien julle net my desktop? Desktop. So julle sien hier so waar ek vir weer one page ronddraai. Ai. Okay.
Joann, ek het nou net Ronel hierso. Ek het nou net die Zoom skerm oop. Waar moet ek Desmos kry om oop te maak? Moet ek weer klik op jou e-pos van gister?
Nee, Ronel, Desmos kry jy, ek sal nou gou sommer in die chats die link post, dat ek het sommer doen, dit gaan ook vinniger wees. Hier gaan het. Is al die mans laat. Ek gaan dit gou gaan, ek sien ek het dit. Okay, die link is nou in die chats, so dit is waar julle na Desmos toe kan oorbeweeg. As jy nou Desmos Ensign vra vir jou of jy met jou Google account wil insign, anders moet jy account create, volg my net daai stappietjies daarso. Ek gaan nou vir julle my skerm share, dan gaan julle sien wat sien ek, as ek nou net so in Desmos ingaan. So mooi in Engels. Sê nou vir ons hier so, we appreciate you especially today met 'n hartjie. Nee, so dit julle ook sien. My skerm, okay, dankie. En dan sal Steve ons waardeer dit. So ons is al 90. Ek dink hierdie lyk cool. As julle enige vrae het nou, is nou 'n bietjie rustiger, maar ek vermoed van almal op is gaan gaas wees. Vra gerus in die chat funksie. Ek het julle almal gemute, anders gaan dit klink soos 'n graad 4 klaskamer. So dit is hoekom ek julle nie kan hoor nie, en nou kom ons die chat funksie moet gebruik. En Slabbert, kan jy my nou hoor as ek praat? Want ek sien jy sê jy kan my nie hoor nie. So reply net op die boodskap. Andersins moet jy kyk by jou settings of jou speaker aangestel is. Erika, die link het ek net gestuur hier so in die chat. So kyk gou of jy hom opspoor. En dan teken jy net gou in. Ek gaan nou sommer maar weer post. Hendrik vra, hoe kan hy Zoom nog daar hou? So, ek gaan gou vir julle my screen share hoe om ietsie kleiner te maak. En dan, hopelik gaan dit julle help. Ek gaan net die Zoom kan wys, met Zoom laat my nie toe om homself te rekord nie. So, ek share gou screen 2. So, kom ons sê, op my screen 2, julle sien nou my e-posse. Nou sien julle my webblaaier. Nou, Desmos is nou oral op hierdie skerm. Nou gaan ek na die minimize regsbo toe en ek maak hom net kleiner. Nou kan ek hom rondtrek. Sien julle dit? Nou as ek hom kan rondtrek, dan trek ek hom heeltemal links of heeltemal regs, so ver as ek kan, en maak hy so grys reghoek. As ek hom los, dan gooi hom in die helfte van die skerm. Nou kan ek hierso aan hierdie oop kant, kan ek my Zoom gaan gooi, of ek kan byvoorbeeld nou my e-pos aan hierdie kant gaan gooi. Dat ek my skerm verdeel in 2. Ek hoop dit maak sin. As jy nog vragies het, vra gerus in die chats. gaan ek vinnig na my chats toe, so ek hou my chats oop. As jy op 'n selfoon is dit 'n bietjie moeiliker. So dan klik ek net op chat. En dan maak ek net vir my chatpaneel oop. Die sessie, ek gaan die sessie rekord. Julle mag nie die sessie rekord nie. Ek dink nie ek het julle toestemming gegee vir dit nie. So ek gaan die sessie rekord en dan gaan ek dit later beskikbaar stel op ons portaal. So julle sal na afloop van hierdie sessie weer na hierdie sessie kan kyk as goedjies te vinnig was of as jy goedjies gemis het. Of as jy net weer 'n bietjie verfris wil word. Oh, cool. Steve Phelps is hier so. Gou. Steve, I'm going to communicate a little bit in Afrikaans, so if it doesn't make sense, it's not you, it's our language, it's different. So I'm looking for you now to make you a co-host. Steve, just type your name in the chat because I'm looking for you, but let's try finding a participant. Steve Phelps. Oh, never mind. Got it. My co-host. Okay, Steve, you're a co-host now. Almal in die chats is Steve daarso, so as jy vir hom spesifieke vragies het, vra dit net in Engels. So Steve, they're going to ask you questions in English in the chats if they have any. We still have time. We have 7 more minutes before we formally start. Or not actually, it's actually more. We only formally start at 1, so it's 22 more minutes. So gaan maar so tussen Afrikaans en Engels gaan. This is very exciting. Ons kry nog steeds mense wat registreer. It's crazy. Nog in die registrasie is oor 5 minute sluit. Formeel. As julle kan, sit julle skerm op speaker view. Met ander woorde, dan sien jy net die spreker op een slag. Dit gaan help vir as Steve net nou gesels. In the parking lot. Annetjie, ek gaan so oor 3 minute weer verduidelik hoe om die skerm te split. Karina, ja, dis perfect. Ek dink dit sal goed werk. Linda, gaan uit, dan gaan jy weer in en dan sê net join with audio. Kyk jy of dit werk. Nou, ek weet nie anders. Ok, daar het jy hom. Dankie. Nee. Sou julle vir my so maak of so maak, so as jy 'n paswoord moes intik, so as jy nie 'n paswoord hoef in te getik het nie. Moes jy 'n paswoord in? Okay, great. Hoe vra mense my vir 'n paswoord? Nogal interessant is, amper al die inligting is in die dokumente. Ons onnies raas altyd met kinders wat nie lees nie. Lees is 'n superpower. Steve, if you can hear me, we are currently 588 registered teachers that registered through Zoom. So 769 registered through our Google Forms, but I see they are registering now every 3 or 4 seconds, another one comes up. Steve, for now, will you just keep the chats, an eye on the chats? Teachers, you are more than welcome to ask Steve questions on the chats. Otherwise, you can mail me, joann@skole.co.za. I haven't asked Steve's permission whether they can mail him or not, but if he wants them to mail him, he can put his email address down. I'm not going to do it for him because it's maybe a bit invasive.
They can email. That would be good.
Thanks, Steve. So can you just drop your email in the chats? We will most probably not be able to answer all the questions in the chat. Thanks, Anneke, for the strictness. Thanks for the compliment. But I'll compile maybe a Word document of all the common questions, and then I'll answer it maybe through a doc, something that I'll share with you. Oh yeah, Steve, our country is still on Facebook. Not a lot of teachers are on Twitter. If there's 5% of the teachers on Twitter in this whole group, I think I'm going to make that a polling question. That's a good idea. Yeah, our country is not on Twitter yet. Steve, you look like those guys who lives in the Walmart parking lot. But thank you for going through the trouble. That is really, it's saying something. That's cool. Thanks, Steve. Nog so 15 minute, dan gaan ons begin. Onthou om op speaker view te gaan, dit gaan baie beter leerervaring wees. En onthou om jou vrae te vra. Arthur, as ek opbreek, behoort dit aan jou kant die internet uitdaging te wees. So kyk maar net vanaand doen 'n internet speed test. Dan kyk jy gou wat jou internet se spoed. Christa, as jy my nie kan hoor nie, probeer gou oor fone. Annette dieselfde. Andersins, die res van die mense is almal stil. Dis nou net ek wat praat. So sit julle oorfone in of kyk by die mikrofoon. Daar by die mikrofoon is daar so 'n pyltjie op wat sê select a speaker. Dan kies jy nou net die speaker. Dalk jou stelsel het dalk nie speakers nie, dan moet jy jou oorfone net selekteer. Ek sal nou 'n screenshot neem. Yes, ek gaan nie kan. Ek gaan nou 'n plan maak. Okay. Steve is nog tans gemute, so julle gaan hom nie nou kan hoor nie. Hy gaan hom mute sodra hy begin gesels. Jy hoef my nie te sien, Elisel. Wat was jy wil? Steve, I'm polling questions on Afrikaans, so you can just, if you have to poll, just randomly answer number 1. That's the majority of the right answers. Steve, will you tell me when Eli's on?
Okay.
Cool. As die klank sag is dit aan julle kant. Ek gaan nou vir julle 'n screenshot share van waar om te kyk of jou klank dalk uitdaging is. Die webinar begin amptelik 1 uur, dan begin ons met die formele gedeelte. Aha. Goed, maak so. Okay, ek gaan met julle my screen share as jou klank nie werk nie, waar is 'n opsie waarna jy kan kyk. Okay, so as jou klank nie werk nie, gaan hierso links onder, dat ek net die annotations aansit, links onder dan klik jy op daai pyltjie wat opwys langs die mikrofoon icon. Dan select jy jou speaker. So as jy oorfone in het, ek het oorfone in, so dan klik ek op speaker/headphones, dan gaan dit deur my oorfone speel. As jou rekenaar die speakers het, gaan jy seker hoor hê. As jou laptop speaker het wat werk, dan gaan hy behoort hierso te verskyn. Anders as jy net same system. Okay, maak seker hy is getik. Dan behoort dit alles te werk. So. Daar gaan 'n opname beskikbaar wees na die tyd aan al die VAW-lede. Jy het nie 'n paswoord nodig nie. As jy nie geregistreer het nie. Okay, mooi, die klank het gewerk. Boom. Waar is die emojis? Okay, ons het Millennials op die groep. Hier's 2 emojis. By reactions, so ek gaan nou hande klap vir julle wys. Emoji 1, en die ander een is 'n shop. Dit beteken ek stem saam. Sundra, stuur my shop as jy reg gekom het. Het sal goed wees as julle by Desmos so lank kan insign. Ja, ons het nou nog tyd, ons het nog so 9 minute voordat ons amptelik begin. Ons is al 4. Exciting times. Okay, sorry Mariko. LOL, jy is 'n millennial. Is jy nog jonger? So, daar is nog steeds mense wat registreer vir die opleiding. Dit is eintlik baie scary, maar ek gaan dit nou toemaak. So, sê vriendinne, sê julle vra, is nou amptelik te laat. Julle hoef nog nie as VLW-lede geregistreer te wees om hierdie by te woon nie. En nou gaan ek my e-posse toemaak. OK. Ek gaan nou screen share van Desmos as hy reg oop is. Nou gaan ek julle sommer wys om te split. OK, so vir almal is dit nou 'n hele klomp hier op. So screen 2 share. OK, so julle sien nou my screen 2. Dit is hoe dit lyk as ek by Desmos ingeteken is. So gee vir my so een as julle sin ook so lyk, of so een as hy nie so lyk nie. OK, so die meeste van julle het so die sorry Ronel. So kyk gou as jy inteken, as jy inteken by Desmos, teacher.desmos.com, en dan moet die eerste bladsy so te lyk. So soek dit. Dis nie die learner Desmos nie, is die gewone een. Nou as ek hom wil halveer, dan maak ek hom eers kleiner regs bo in die hoek, waar daar die store down staan, net langs die uitgaan. Dan lyk hy so. Nou kan ek hom gryp en hy kan rondbeweeg. Dan trek ek hom heeltemal links. Dan val hy, maar jy moet hom ver links trek. Hy moet so grys blokkie, so dowwe grys geskakeerde blokkie gooi. Nou lê hy links en nou vra hy vir jou, wat wil jy aan die regterkant hê? So myne 2 opsies. Ek sit sommer die COVID-program, sit ek hier langs aan neer. En nou het ek my skerm verdeel. Julle gaan tipies hier aan die regterkant jou Zoom skerm insit. Ek kan dit net nie nou doen nie. OK. OK, mooi. Ek sal met julle die inligting van die opname deel na die afloop van hierdie sessie. OK, almal wat excited is, gaan na reactions toe met 'n handeklap en stuur vir ons handeklap. Ek wil toets of julle dit kan doen. Dis maar net, dit was vinnig, as 'n paar vinnige vingers hierso. Kyk, right. Die ander neem ek aan, kry dit net nie. Dis nie dat hulle nie excited is nie. Nou is lekker baie handeklappe. Hoi. Waar is al die mans? Moet hulle gras sny en al die huistakies regmaak, dat hulle nou nie kan wees nie. Nog 5 minute hoor. So. Hallo Annette. Sien dit net vir my al gesê. Gaan julle CPTD punte kry? Ja, ons is besig, ek sal net nog inligting daaroor gee. Ons is besig om met SAIS te onderhandel om hierdie webinare te laat tel. Gaan net op jou internet browser en search teacher.desmos en dan probeer jy via die internet ingaan. Ek sal nou voor begin. Al die ander mense was baie vroeg. Maar hier is daar 'n man. Dankie Hugo. Jy verteenwoordig, maar ek sien dis 'n paar mans daar. OK, ek gaan nou weer die split screen verduidelik. Gee nog so 2 minute. Dan word daar nog mense opgeteken wees. En dan gaan ek sommer verduidelik Wiki hoe om die klank te kry. Annetjie, jy teken net in by daai link wat ek nou weer gaan share. So jy copy-paste daai, sit dit in jou webbrowser, so of jou Google Chrome, of Explorer, of Firefox. Mooi. Nog so 1 minuut, dan gaan ek 'n paar goedjies verduidelik. Moenie my e-pos uitgaan. Kyk gou, daar Steve het 'n vraag in die chat gevra, as julle gou kan antwoord, dat ons net 'n algemene gevoel kan kry. One yes. Not yet, that's a good answer. 2 yes. 3, 4. Yes, julle is warm op hierdie chat. 5, 6, 7. Haven't even heard about it. So goed, 9. Mooi. So jy gaan iets nuuts leer, dat is lekker. Okay, Steve, I'm just quickly going to explain to everyone how to split their screens, to have Zoom on the one side and then Desmos on the other side. And then also if you have a sound problem, let me just reply here. Okay. Steve, as a co-host, can you also make Eli co-host or not? Is it only the host? You can. So then when you see him, you can just make him a co-host and then tell him just to say hi and introduce him.
When he gets in, I will have him do that.
Okay, cool. Thanks. Okay, jy like share gou screen 2. So as jou klank nie werk nie. Sal iemand dit net, Colette, dit wat ek nou sê, sal jy net type in die chat asseblief, want die mense wat se klank nie werk, jy kan my in elk geval nie hoor nie. So as jou klank nie werk, jy gaan na die pyltjie onder mute, en dan maak seker jou speakers is geselect, as jy nie 'n speaker het of oorfoon het nie, maar dit staan same as a system. En dan maak jy ook net seker, jy kan dit toets, jou speaker en jou microfoon. So daai is dit. En dan as jy by Desmos is, om te split screen, maak hom kleiner, so is die blokkie langs die kruisie. Nou is hy vry om te drag. As ek hom heeltemal links drag, sien julle die grys geskakeerde area, hy sê hy gaan nou daai spasie vul, nou los ek net my muis, en hy vul hom, en nou vra hy vir my, wat wil ek aan die regterkant hê? Ek wil zoom aan die regterkant hê, so dan klik ek hier, so nou behoort julle zoom hier so aan die regterkant te lê. As dit nou nog nie gewerk het nie, dan gaan jy maar net met minimize, zoom, en dan weer uitgaan. Jy gaan die hele tyd in elk geval vir Steve in jou oorfone hoor. Maar wat jy ook kan doen, is jy kan hierdie kleiner maak en groter maak. Jy kan dit verstel. So as jy hierdie boksie kleiner maak, en jy kan hom in die hoek gryp hierso, dan kan jy hom so groot maak as jy wil. Ek sal my zoom klein in die hoek maak, en my Desmos so groot as moontlik. Ek het nou verkeerd onverduidelik. So, great. Okay, so ons is nou amptelik met 494 mense op, en dis nou 1 uur, ons begin nou stiptelik. Hello everyone, I'm going to do the introductory part in English and then semi-Afrikaans as well, just to accommodate Steve, because his Afrikaans is not on par yet. So, thank you Steve, firstly, for waking up early in the morning, going to a coffee shop, sitting in a parking lot to have Wi-Fi so that you can chat with us. I really appreciate that, and I think our teachers do as well. You'll get to see the character of our teachers, professional development and lifelong learners. So you'll enjoy them as much as they enjoy you. So I have a list here that I have to talk about. So in Afrikaans, baie dankie julle. Julle is verskriklik awesome. Dat julle almal ingekoop het op hierdie. Ek dink hierdie is die eerste van sy soort. Ons gaan daai 700 merk tref net nou, want ons het gewoonlik laatkommers. So baie dankie vir dit. So we are also going to have a special guest. So we have Steve, who's going to conduct today's webinar. He's an expert on both GeoGebra and Desmos. I decided to use Desmos because last year when I went to America for the National Council of Teachers of Mathematics, something like that, NCTM conference, I was introduced to Desmos, and it's very intuitive and it has a very strong pedagogical in Afrikaans krag, leerkrag. So we can use it to help the kids explore mathematics instead of traditional drilling and practicing mathematics. And then we, somewhere throughout this session, Eli, who is the CEO of Desmos, he will just be joining us because of how big this session is. I think we're actually breaking a Guinness World Book of Records for online math teaching webinar in Afrikaans. That should be a record. So I'm thanking you guys for that. So when Eli comes up, I'm going to ask him just to say hi because it's kind of big. So regarding Steve, he has like 28 years of teaching experience and a very neat mustache like myself. So that already puts him in another category. He's from Cincinnati, America. And it's currently 7 o'clock in the morning where he is. He's currently an instruction technology consultant. So he does what we do, helping teachers to integrate technology within the classroom instead of just putting it there as white elephants. And then he also develops a lot of the material on GeoGebra and Desmos. Where we use it, he develops it. And we want to thank him for that because we are actually reusing his creativity in our classrooms. And then after today, hopefully you guys will be using it a lot. Remember to put your screen on speaker view so that when Steve speaks, you see him. So you don't get distracted by all the neat faces, the pretty faces around you. And then quickly, the VLV. So ek gaan nou 'n poll uitstuur binnekort met 10 kort vragies. Wat ek net vir julle verduidelik wie die VLV is, wat ons doen. Ons is regtig daar om Afrikaanse onderrig te ondersteun in watter hoedanigheid ook al, maar die medium is altyd Afrikaans. So in die sin van hulpbronne, werkkaarte ensovoorts, maar soos julle vandag sien, ons is nie bang om enige hulp in te roep, het sy dit Engels of enige ander taal is nie. Maar ons hoof fokus is Afrikaans. Ons stel vir ons lede werkskaarte, toetse, projekte en alle goeder stel ons vir hulle op. Ons gee dit vir hulle, so hulle kan dit net gebruik verniet. Met verniet bedoel ek, jy betaal R239 'n jaar, wat verniet is. So ek gaan vinnig met julle my screen share. Hoe word jy lid en wat daarbij betrokke is. So, ek gaan net vinnig vir julle wys. So as jy nog nooit 'n lid was nie en jy gaan na onderwysers.co.za, is hierdie jou landingsblad. En dan sal jy sien, jy kan of inteken of registreer. As jy nog nooit op ons portaal was nie, gaan jy registreer en dan gaan jy prompt, en dan gaan jy klomp vragies invul, en dan gaan hy 'n faktuur vir jou maak. Nou wat die beste is, as jou skool nog nie lede het nie, mail my, dan maak ek jou ons verteenwoordiger, dan is jou lidmaatskap gratis, en dan kan jy aan onderwysers oplaai, dan kry die skool 'n faktuur, en dan betaal die skool, dis baie goedkoper. Ons is nie winsgewend, maar ons moet nog steeds ons overheads dek, so dis hoekom ons 'n paar randjies vra. So ons betaal ook onderwysers om vir ons die hulpbronne op te stel, so jaarliks stuur ons aansoeke uit, dan kan julle aansoek doen om hulpbronne op te stel, en dan keer ons dit goed. Dan as jy geregistreer is hierdie jou landingsblad lyk. Hier is my syspunte wat ek al geaccumulate het, so elke keer wat jy ons opleiding bywoon, hou ons vir jou trek vir jou syspunte, want sys doen nie. En dan kan jy, alles is mooi gefile, so jou syspunte lê so hoeveel jy deur die jaar geaccumulate het. Dan, onder hulpbronne, so julle gaan nou byvoorbeeld sien, ek is geregistreer vir verskillende vakke, so kom ons kyk het gou byvoorbeeld wiskunde, ek het werkkaarte onder 2018, maar kom ons kyk gou 2020, dan kan jy jou graad gaan kies, en dan sal julle sien, dis per kwartaal, en dan sê ons hier is vir jou gratis ondersoek vir wiskunde, modellering, formele toetse, en dan kan jy dit net gaan aflaai. En dan, hoe kry jy, en dan, ja, ek moet dit sê, dit is baie belangrik, jou sertifikaat na afloop van hierdie sessie gaan lê onder sertifikate. En dan kry jy 'n pragtige sertifikaat, dat ek vir julle wys hoe lyk dit. Kom ons kyk, ek behoort nou te wys. Dus jou sertifikaat lyk, is pragtig, né? En dan, maar voordat jy daai sertifikaat kan kry, as jy geregistreer het, ek sal net nou almal se vrae antwoord, ek moet net gou vinnig hier deurhaas. So jy gaan na opleiding op jou portaal se landingsblad, dan sien jy VOW Desmos-opleiding lê heel bo, dan klik jy sien, en dan klik jy registreer. As jy registreer geklik het, dan kies jy die datum, jou pakket, jy's 'n lid, prys is dan R0, en jy sê bespreek, en dan sal ons net tik as jy hierso was, en dan lê jou sertifikaat onder sertifikaat. Jy kan hom nou uitprint en aflaai ensovoorts. So dis so maklik soos dit. So julle kan julle vra vir my e-pos, enige tyd, ek sal julle help om lede te word, en dit is regtig vir my 'n voorreg om hierdie werk te kan doen. Okay, goed. Julle almal is gemute, en dan alles wat gehanteer sal word, sal deur die chats gehanteer word. Ons gaan probeer om hierdie sessie te akkrediteer vir 5 CPDD punte, of 5 punte. Good, Steve, the floor is yours. You may take over now. I'll mute myself.
Hello, everyone. So I am excited to be here today. And we had very bad storms last night where I live. And so our electricity was out, our power was out. And so I'm in the parking lot of a coffee shop that has Wi-Fi. So that is what I am doing. So let me share my screen and give you an agenda, the things I'd like to do today. And you will be playing around with Desmos as a student would play around with it. And then you'll get to look at it from a teacher point of view. And you'll see what I see as a teacher. But I'll help you get that set up so that you can share these with your students this coming week. We are very similar as far as our schools. Our schools in the United States are all closed. And our schools will probably be closed for the rest of the year. And the universities will be closed until next school year. So they probably will not offer classes during the summer. And so Desmos is a wonderful way to teach kids remotely when you can't meet with the kids face to face. So let me share a part of my screen. Yes, perfect. So what I would like to do today is I want to introduce you to my favorite activity. And actually it is it's a class of activities, a large group of activities, which are called marble slides. And I'll let you play with a marble slide and go through an entire marble slide so you can see what your students would have to think about and how your students would engage in the activity. And then I believe that Joann helped everyone, maybe not everyone, but some of you get set up with a teacher account, or maybe directed you where the teacher account was. And I can help you kind of get that set up as well. I would like to help you make a collection of these marble slides so you'll have them kind of in your own file. And then time permitting, we'll just have to wait and see. And it also, if my battery lasts, as long as my battery on my laptop lasts, we'll be okay. Then we'll see if we can make our own marble slide. But what I can do, if we don't get to that, I can make a very short screencast or a video, and I will put that on YouTube And I will share that with Joann, and he can share that with everyone else in the group to show how to create your own marble slide. So I am, this is the marble slide I'm going to get everybody into. And so I'm going to share a link in the chat. And if you just click on the link in the chat window, if you just click on the link in the chat, oh, let me go. I think I just missed it. Oh, well, the chat is not showing up for me. So if you'd like on your laptop, if you'd like to open up another tab in your browser and go to student.desmos.com. And it's going to ask you to type in a code, and this is the code you type in. And I'm just going to continue to try to find the chat window, but it's not opening up. Oh, hi, I'm back. Let me try that again. There it is. So here is the, I pasted the link in the chat window. Oh, let me try that again. I pasted the link in the chat window, so you should be able to just click on that link in the chat and join this activity as a student would. So if you want to if you want to go to your chat window and click on that link, the link was posted at 7:13, so it's at the very bottom of the chat window. Yep, it's in SY or S3YERF. And here is the link that will also take you there. Whoa. So I'm going to pause everybody here for us. I'm going to pause everyone. So I'm going to pause this activity in 5 seconds, 4, 3, 2, 1. Whoa. Good. So if you look at the screen that I'm sharing, this is what I see. There are 280 to 84, almost 300 people in this activity. And I see everyone, as I scroll through the activity, it kind of looks like a grade book. And so this is how I can track the student progress. So I see Marianne right here. Marianne has a dot in this box, which tells me that she started to do something in this first slide, but I paused the activity, so she was not able to complete that, but she will. I can also click on the slide as a teacher. And when I click on that slide as a teacher, I see everyone's screens. Those who have actually gone to one of the screens first. So I see their screens. And as a teacher, I can look at their screens and I can actually leave them feedback. So this is a Shantel Storm. I'm going to click at the top of this screen and I will send her feedback. And so Shantel should see a small little notification at the top of her screen to let her know that she got feedback from me. So most of you may only know Desmos as a graphing calculator, but this is called the Desmos activities. And so I'm going to unpause this, and I'm going to go ahead and add another page. And so,
Steve, can I just quickly get in there? Can you just show them how to copy paste that link into their browser? Because it's not hyperlinked on our side. So some of the teachers are struggling to get that link into the Google browser or whatever.
So I would, can you, oh, I wonder if you can see my chat window. Joann, let me see if this will work. So if you can go open another tab in your browser and go to student.desmos.com, and then if you type in that code, S3YERF, that will get you into the activity. And Joann, let me just keep letting me know if people are having trouble, because I want to go very slow and make sure everyone can play along. If you are in the activity, go ahead and try the different things in there. You only have 2 slides that are open, so. Ooh, I'm excited to see how we do on this one. So on the second slide, you want to change one number to make that work. So if you look at my screen, I can see everyone's screen. I can see everybody's screen. So I think this would be super useful. So let me help you on the second screen. Let me help you on the second screen if I can. This is awesome. So one of the questions in the chat window from, so will we be able to create teacher accounts and use it like you do? Yes. And your students, they don't need to register with Desmos, but if they had their Google account, they could then join your activity and their work would be saved. if and this is a problem that we have in the United States. How will learners use Desmos if they do not have access to the internet or a smartphone? And if they don't have those things, they will not be able to use Desmos. And let me and I can shrink my screen a little bit. I will try to shrink my screen a little bit. And so I'm gonna pause the activity for a moment. And so now I've paused the activity. And what I see from a teacher point of view, and this is when there are 400 people in the activity, it goes very slow. But when there are only maybe 50 people in the activity, it goes very fast. But everywhere where there is a check mark means that the student has completed the activity successfully. And so I've got my entire list. And so if there is a check mark, they were able to knock out the stars. If there is a small dot, that means they're still working on the activity. But typically the goal for the activity is to change the equation or to write an equation where you can launch the marbles and knock out all of the stars. So I am going to add a couple of more screens to this activity, so you can go through it a couple more screens and try them, and then we will stop, and I can if you have any questions, I can go through your chat and answer some of your questions. But let me add a couple of screens to the activity. So you should be able to, up on the upper right corner, you should be able to go to the next screen in the activity once I unpause you, of course. Okay, so continue on. And if you have questions as you go, I'm going to try to get back to the chat window. Joann, there are activities there for elementary school, middle school. Mostly it is for what we would say grades 5 and up, 5 to 12.
Okay, so Steve, I see a lot of questions. Can I ask the teachers just to post the questions in English so that when you come across one that you can answer on the fly, that you'll be able to?
Yes.
And I just want to explain to them, when you share your screen, they don't have control over that.
Yes.
Yeah, so that means it's his screen. You can only see what he's showing you, but you also have your separate tab open on the side where you can play with the Desmos. But please keep the questions coming. We'll answer as quick as we can. But yeah, Steve, you can answer some of the questions while they do the activity, and when it's relevant to them, they'll catch on.
Yes, this is just one of the questions or comments at the top is, let me find it again.
One question is it can it work on a phone?
Yes. Some activities work better than others on phones. But they do work on phones, but this one might not work best on phones. Nadine commented how this was an amazing way to interact with technology, and I do agree. And I think it gets kids to think differently about. It's like an engineer is how they kind of think like.
Yeah, sorry, Steve. If I look at this activity, like it looks like a grade 10, 11, 12 functions activity, but 9-year-olds can play with it as well. And then they can start to intuitively see how fractions and functions, etc., change graphs. So that by the time they get to grade 9, 10, it's sort of familiar to them.
There's an activity that is like this that has been modified for students in grades 5, 6, 7, 8, where they're just changing the coordinates, and it's called Minigolf. But that activity is there, and I will share that link with everyone. And so for students to use this activity, they would go to student.desmos.com. Emily, how do I change one number? If I click in the graph down here in that little line, then I can delete it, and I can change the equation. So I can delete the entire equation and change the entire equation, or I can just change one number. And so Nadia asked, and we can create these on teacher.desmos. Yes, you can. However, you don't have to, because these things are already made. So there are a lot of activities that you can use and play with your students. So so you don't have to make these. You can just use them as like a curriculum material.
And Steve, you can translate them into Afrikaans as well, as a teacher. Am I right?
That would be a I wonder.
I have done that.
I know.
I maybe I should just read up on it again, but I have translated some of these activities. Yeah, they do allow you as a teacher, if you open the activity and you paste it on your own, what do you call it, dashboard or whatever. If you take that activity, then you can edit it.
Yes. Some activities can be edited, and
Yeah.
I know that they translate them into other languages: French, Spanish, German. So I think it could be. I think if there's someone who's willing to translate them, they can be translated. And so, so Joann, let's see. I'm scrolling down, looking through some questions while you guys are playing with these, and then we'll look at some of your solutions. And so, Anita, what happens when you get it correct? When you get it correct, you should see like a success word pop on your screen, and then I see it as a check mark in my grade book. Yes, good.
Petra has a good comment.
I will just send, and Linda commented, I will just send the link to the students with the code and just play it for a short time. Yes, I think that would be a fantastic use of a marble slide.
Then, sorry, Steve, if you send this to the kids before a lesson, and then when they get to the class, you can ask them, what did you notice? What did you see? What happened when you changed the denominator versus what happened when you changed the numerator? Or what happened when you changed this? And then it can become a good class discussion.
Correct. And is it cheating to change two numbers? So we have that discussion. So on this page that you might be able to see on number 1, it says that you can, it says change 1 number, but everyone typically changes 2. And so here is a number 4. So can you check my number 4? And that is Anita. So I'm gonna check number 4. And I'm going to go, so to check the number 4, I'm going to go up to the upper right-hand corner in my page. I have a student view, what the student sees, but I'm going to go to the teacher view because I want to see all of your pages. And I'm going to, right now, if you notice your names, the names are all different. They're not your names because what I did is I anonymized the class. So I'm going to click on this button in the upper left, and now your names are back. And then I will sort them by names. And hopefully I can find Anita. And so here's Anita. And so I launch her marbles. And she knocks out all of the stars. And then she got success. So I will send her written feedback. Now, if things are going very slow on your computer, that's because we have almost 500 people in this activity. Well, 343 now, so that's okay. So there, it will go very, very slow when there's a whole lot of people. But if you have a class, it will go very quickly. So yes, I will walk you through how to create the class, to create your code. And I think that you should, and this is Nadia, I think that you should, you say, when you go to the teacher.desmos.com and you find an activity you want to use, you should create the class code for that activity, which is exactly what I did for you. Oh, I'm sorry, Anita. Now I understand. Yes. Yeah, so you need to click on the launch button to make sure it works, because then it will, when you click on the launch button, it will, how do I write it in fraction form? So if you can see my screen, what I do is I go y equals 1, and then it's a / on my keyboard, and then 2. And it is also possible, Marley, if in the bottom left corner where it says show keypad, I can show this keypad, and then there's a division button here that I can also use. And that division button will also create the fraction. I will share, Marley, I will go back and share some activities or show you some activities on Desmos that would use, that could be used for younger learners. And then Linda asked, how do I get the purple dot to move? So if you click on the launch button in the upper right-hand corner of the graphing page, and it might go very slow because there are so many people in our class now. Nice. So you feel happy when you get it correct, and your kids also feel happy when you get it correct. So let me, I'm going to go back here and let me add some more slides so you guys can move a little bit further. And they ask you to do some other things with graphs. So these are probably more for teachers of older students. So if this is not in your, if this is not something you would teach, don't worry. Just kind of keep playing with this and trying this on your own. And you can go ahead to the next couple of activities or the next couple of slides. So the I think you can get through slide Annette, I think you can get through slides now up through number 12, I think. Yes, I will show you where you can check on the age group for the activities. I will look at your slide number 5. And there are some things for grades 4 through 6. How do the stars move? When you set up the activity is when you can place your stars. And once the stars are placed, they can't be moved. So your students will not be able to move the stars. And Linda, if you would let me know what slide or what page you're on, I can help you with that. And then Aletta, you asked about slide number 5, that you had typed in a quadratic equation. I think that was.
Steve, while you're looking at that, I just want to explain to the teachers, Steve just selected one of his favorite activities. There are numerous activities. So this one doesn't necessarily apply to grade 4s or maybe grade 5s, even 6, but you have to see the idea that there's an activity where you can track the kids in that activity regardless of what that activity is. You as a grade 5 teacher will go and explore and look for grade 5 applicable activities. And then you can at home, when you send the codes via WhatsApp to your kids, they can do it and then you can track where they are currently at. So the idea of this session now is not necessarily the activity, but the whole teaching experience. Just to clarify that, I see there's some questions about it.
Thank you, Joann. I appreciate that. Thank you. So Aletta, on page 5, why does it go to the left? So when I launch the marbles, it's falling. The marbles fall at the vertex of the parabola. And so it's got to make a decision. Sometimes they may fall to the right. Sometimes they may fall to the left. So in my case, they're going to fall off to the right. So it depends on your screen and how your screen works. Lisa asked, can this only be used for functions? No. They do not need, it cannot only be functions. And then Linda, let me go back to your page and I will show you. And so on this first, I assume you meant page number 1. And then what you can do is you just click on the launch button in the upper right corner of the graph. And the upper right corner of the graph will make the marbles drop. And yes, there are grades for 4 through 6. I will show you where those are, and I will show you how you can find the grade level for each activity. And here is what I see as a teacher. So from a teacher point of view, maybe there are so many people in here. This is awesome. So it's going to go very, very slow. So if you look at my screen for a moment, this is what I see on for the class. It's almost like a grade book. Every place where there is a check mark means that the student successfully completed that task. If there's a dot, that means it is something that they are tried or they're working on, but they've not pressed the launch button. And if there's an X, they've pressed the launch button, but have not fixed their equation yet to knock out the stars. So that is the feedback I can get. Now this will be very, very slow with all of our students in here at one time. But that is okay. Now, you had asked for some, was there another activity that we could use for grades 4 through 6? And so here is I will take you back and I will show another activity that perhaps we can try. And I'm going to, I will not pause this activity, but I will give us another activity for you guys to try if you'd like to try it. If you are, so many of you asked, how can I find my activities? This is back at the teacher.desmos.com website. And we'll talk more about this, but there are a bunch of different activities. And so there are middle school activities for geometry that are grouped together. There are Marcellus the Giant. It is an awesome activity for kind of the grades 4, 5, 6, 7. But I will show you another marble slide activity. And if you're a younger teacher and you'd like to jump in on this, I will start this up for you. So this activity is called Marble Slide Minigolf. And so you asked about how, if this would be a good, how can I tell what the age is for the students? And so typically it would be written here in the description. And though it doesn't say this because this was by a different person, but it is in a middle school collection. So for the United States, that is grades, that's grades 4 through 8. And so here is how I would get the get this to my students. So if I scroll down the page, so this is the mini golf marble slide. If I scroll down the page a little bit, that's where the create class code is. And when I click on the create class code, it creates a special code for this activity. And let me view the dashboard. And when I view the dashboard, it creates the link for the students. So if you would like to join this activity instead of the other one, so you can leave that other activity. If you would go back to student.desmos.com and type in this activity, and you guys are all over this. You are popping in here, and this is it's a marble slide, but it works a little bit differently, and so we may need to kind of explain the first slide and how it works. But I will leave this up there for a little bit. And I will paste this code in the chat window. Here is the code for the new activity. So, Melinda, your question in the chat, I'm sorry, I'm just, and I will, so there's a couple things. So in the, you could probably just Google an activity. And like if you Google Desmos activity for the topic you want and the grade you want, you would probably find a number of things. Also, let me go back and unpause. I will remove the restrictions so you can go past 12 in that other activity. Yes. So let me go ahead and I'm going to stop. I am going to stop the screen sharing in the other activity. At least I think I was. Very, very slow. That's okay. Am I just supposed to choose one? Well, I'm trying to, it's not being very helpful for me right now, and it might be my internet, but that's okay. So it sees that I'm looking at the Minigolf marble slide, and it appears that many of you are kind of figuring out how to use the coordinates. This would be an activity that I might use for grades 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. It introduces them the coordinates in a fun, game-like manner. And so I will I will paste this code again. I'm trying to turn off this other activity. Well, I tell you what, here's what I will do. So Elsa, you asked about going past 12, and I will try to turn off the pacing, but it might have to wait until later. But you can always go back and get to this activity and finish it up again if you'd like. That's not very helpful now, I understand, but it's not letting me stop the pacing, unfortunately. So if you wanted to go to the next activity, and then we will stop here in a little bit. This gives you a flavor of the kinds of activities for the younger kids. This is perfect. This is perfect. So if you'd like to join the new activity, go to student.desmos.com and type in the code Q8B2T6. $356. My goodness. And so this activity, the idea behind this activity is that you will change the coordinates of the segment in this table over here on the left-hand side. So each row is the coordinates of one endpoint of the segment. And then when you launch the buttons, or when you launch the marbles, you want to try to knock out the little star. And so you may need to change these numbers. So I'm looking through this. Most of you guys, I think, are probably figuring this out. And so let's see. So can the learner view their progress like I can in the teacher view? That has actually been a question that folks have asked about. I think they can only go and back in their history and look at one problem at a time. They can't see like a big, they can't see other students' screens. It is possible to see other students' answers, but you have to set up the questions that way. But so typically they can only see their own work, and they can only see their work one page at a time. Good question though, Henry. Good question. Good question. So I'm going to give you guys about 8 more minutes to play with this, and then we'll have a little discussion, and then I will show you how you can find some activities yourself and how you can create these into like your own things to give your kids. This is actually, Danita, you asked, can learners access Desmos on their iPads? Yes, and it is actually wonderful on the iPads because there are activities where students can actually draw on the screen, and the iPads are wonderful for that. You should not be able to get into the screen I'm showing yet, Linda, because this is from the teacher view, so this is what you would see as a teacher. But if you ran your own activity, Linda, you would be able to get into this page. Yes. You guys are awesome, by the way. This is so I will give you about 5 more minutes. 5 more minutes in this activity, and then we will stop the activities. And we will have a little discussion. Must all learners work on the activities at the same time, or can you send the, so what I would do is this, Elna, learners can work on it at their own time. And so yes, they can work on it whenever they would like to work on it. What I would do is I would maybe provide the activity on a Monday and have the kids work on it throughout that week. And then you could always stop back in and check on their activity. And you could provide them feedback on their progress, like how I did earlier. So for example, I will show you how to do the progress. So if I find, for example, I will go to this screen right here. If I click in the upper middle part of that, on that little icon, I can leave written feedback for that student. And it could be just a praise, or it could be constructive feedback. It could be anything. So. Can I give you a page one hint? Oh, I don't know. Oh, so this is certainly a little bit weird. This is a little bit weird. So on page one, let me go up and give this a try, and then. So the idea behind page one is these are the coordinates on the left-hand side. Those are the coordinates of the endpoints of the segment. And so you might not have to do anything on this one, on this page one, because it will actually, when I click on the launch button, the marbles go into that little cup. And you want so it's kind of like mini golf. You're trying to put the marbles into the cup to knock out where the star is. And so you do that by changing these those endpoints in that table on the left-hand side. So kids, I'll give us 3 more minutes. And I am trying to stop the I am trying to stop this on the other page, but it's just not being super helpful. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this. I'm just going to close that tab. And I'll go back. I will go back and unpause it later, and I will go back and send the activity links to all of you. I'll send them to Johann, and he can forward them on. You guys are doing awesome. 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 So, Jonna, what I did is I actually had to close that activity because it had froze up. What I will do is I am going to, after this Zoom session is open, I will go back to that activity, and I will, what I'll do is I will send that link out again, and then you can go back in and try it. You can always go back in, but I will have to wait until everyone is out of the activity before I can close the, before I can stop the pacing. I am very, very sorry. But there are so many people who were in on it. Yeah, and so, and I agree, this is fun. And I think that is the key, is that this is, it's fun, it is a game-like, and as a teacher, this is where you can really be a good teacher, because you can help kids kind of tie all the loose ends together. So in about 1 more minute, kids, 1 more minute, and then I'm going to pause this activity, and I'll have you guys maybe put some things in the chat for me. And then I will show you where to go. We'll kind of create make sure our teacher account is created. And we'll get up a couple things set up, and then I will show you where to look for your activities. You can make your own activities. So yes, so you can make your own activities, and that is not hard to do, and that is something that we've talked about. Like if we wanted to do another one of these sessions on a Thursday, I don't know how that would work, but maybe we could kind of do something where we kind of show you guys how to create an activity. So grade 12 calculus things. Okay, so this is there are people out there who do things for Desmos, who create some really good calculus things. If I was going to do calculus, I would probably suggest GeoGebra for calculus. However, there are, if you go to Google and you Google Desmos activity integration calculus, you would probably find an activity, and there are some good names. There are good names out there that create them. Riemann sum is the same thing. It's just very, very hard to create in Desmos on your own. But in GeoGebra, there are commands for that you can do Riemann sums and things like that. So, okay, kids, I am going to pause. I know this is, if I don't pause the activity, I will not have your attention. So I am going to pause this activity in 5 seconds. And 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. I'm going to pause this activity. Yes, yeah, that is exactly what the kids do. So you guys are awesome. You guys are awesome. So this was this is would be an activity for, I think, those middle grades. And there was a question just briefly in the chat about where can I get this code to their page, or how do I get to their students? And I want to show you guys how to do that. So you'll give this to your students. Yes.
They're hating you so much now, Steve.
Yeah, I know. They are all over me, man, aren't they? This is, look at this. But that's now in the other language. I don't know if that's bad or not, but that's okay. So do me a favor. Do me a favor. We don't have much time left. We have just under 30 minutes, and I think everything's going to work out well. If you want to go, open up another browser in your window, or in your browser window, and go to teacher.desmos.com. And I do believe that you all were there at that link earlier, at teacher.desmos.com. And I can post that link in the chat window for everyone to see. Wait a minute, you're here and you're not a math teacher? That is awesome. Bridget, so this is again, there is a geometry component to the Desmos activities that you can use for 2D shapes. If you were going to use 3D shapes, I would probably turn to something like GeoGebra, or something like Trinket, or Tinkercad. Tinkercad would actually be a pretty nice thing for 3D shapes. You can create your own activities. So help me out for a second. Let's make sure that everything is, like, all you guys are on the same page, hopefully. So do me a favor. If you are on the teacher.desmos.com website, in the upper right-hand corner of the page, do you see your name in the upper right-hand corner of the page? And just put either a yes or a no if you see your name. Oh, you guys are awesome. You guys are awesome. Awesome.
Sure.
I need to get a copy of the chat, because there are some awesome quotes in there about Desmos that the people at Desmos would actually love to see. So here's what I want to do. Make sure if you are at teacher.desmos.com, here's what I want you to do. Where your name is actually a pull-down menu. So if you would do me a favor, if you would do the pull-down menu by your name, if you click on that, there's a pull-down menu. And these instructions are in the Google document that was shared. And Joann, I'm sure you can share that again with them if they need to. They might not know what's in that, but the instructions to do this are in that document. In this pull-down menu, do me a favor and go to Desmos Labs. That's the second thing on the list. go to Desmos Labs and click on that for me. So Lisa or anyone else, if your name is not showing, what that means is you probably need to go ahead and create an account, or or just sign in with your Google account is what I would do. If you have gotten to the Desmos Labs, there are 4 checkboxes on the Desmos Labs. Check all 4 of those checkboxes and then press save. Actually, Leandri, what it will do is either way, if you create an account, using your Google is one of the options. And so I would probably just use Google. I think that would be easiest.
Steve,
so,
while they're doing this, I think in the next few weeks we can maybe do following up sessions, but then in phase like grades 4 to 6 together, and then we group them in clusters so that the activities is applicable to the grades.
Yes.
Majority of the teachers will be excited for that.
Well, we can talk more about this because, as I said, I would have a lot of time.
Yeah, I just got a few personal messages asking for that. So I think it's a general feeling. If you can put a thumb from your reactions, that would be cool. Everyone can use reactions. I want a photo of all the... Use the reactions at the bottom and press the thumb, not a lateral thumb, emoji thumb. That's good.
And that would also be good because the numbers would be a little bit less, and I think everything would go quicker.
Yeah.
Let's you and I talk more about this, and you can do it. I love helping. It's not a problem. This is really not a problem.
We can do separate ones as well because I'm also quite familiar, and we can. There's some queries about GeoGebra. We can do GeoGebra as well.
Yes.
While we all have the time.
Yes. Well, exactly.
But we won't repay you now because our currency is a bit bad. So we repay you when our currency drops back to normal rates.
Oh, we've had that conversation. You do not need to worry about that at all. So let me show you the one thing in the Desmos Labs. If you were there, make sure that these 4 things are checked off, and then make sure you click on save at the bottom. And then let me show you where to look for activities. And some of you are probably already figuring this out. So in the upper left-hand corner of my screen, it says home. And I'm going to click on home. And at the top of this page, it says the featured collections. Let me use the annotate. So what I'm looking at is let me draw. Maybe I'll use like I don't know what shape to use. So there is, well, that did not work. So I will go stamp. So right here, that stamp's not working either. None of the drawing tools are working for me. Oh well. Here it is now. So right there, featured collections. Featured collections is what you should see at the top. Over here on the right-hand side, there's a link that says view all. If you would click on that view all link, that would be perfect. And then I will show you how you can find some other activities. So if you click on view all, there are groups of activities that are by topic. So someone asked about calculus before. There might be some things in this collection here. There are grades 6, 7, and 8. So grades 6 in the United States would be 12-year-olds, maybe 11-year-olds, maybe 13-year-olds. A little bit further down are the elementary grades. And so these are collections of activities that you can use with your students. On some activities, it is possible to change the language and the text if it's possible to edit that. So these are collections. So for example, if I was a grade 6 teacher, if I click on the grade 6, these are all of the activities that are considered grade 6 activities. So you guys were doing the mini golf marble slides just a little while ago. And there is another awesome coordinate plane activity. And then there should be a little, oh, I did not mean to do that. There should be a little button up here in kind of the upper left-hand corner where it would say, and I don't know because I don't see it here on my screen, but there typically is like a button right in here that would say add collection. And it's not working, so that's okay. And so you can actually add that to your collection of things. The question that has come up is, how do I get this to my kids? So if you see an activity that you like and you click on the activity, this is the activity page. It kind of tells you what you're going to do. Students will use ratios to determine the number of balloons needed to float different objects. It kind of tells you what it's intended, that this is a practice activity and it should take about 30 to 40 minutes. Probably not good on a mobile device or a phone, but tablets and laptops and screen readers should be okay. You can preview the activity. So I can preview the activity and I can see what is involved in the activity. And so, for example, the idea is that they're looking at, like, there's 1 balloon, 4 balloons, a whole bunch of balloons. And 4 balloons seems to balance that duck just perfectly. And so the rest of the activity is trying to figure out how many balloons do I need to balance different objects. So this is proportional reasoning. So if you like the activity and you like the things that are there, and you think it would be appropriate for your students, you can create a class code. And then after you create your class code, when you view the dashboard, I typically would give my students this link here at the bottom, but it may be go to what you guys did, student.desmos.com. And because I created a class link, this activity is live. You guys could go to this activity and play through this activity and see what it's like as a student. But that is so once the activity is created, it is ready for the students to go and to kind of work with.
They can WhatsApp that code to their kids or put it on the learner management system or send an email. It doesn't really matter. Yeah. That's cool.
So I would use this link, and we would use like Google Classroom or Schoology or whatever it is you're using. And then, so where did you get the preview? Great question. And so, and can you do the activities ourselves before your students? So here's what I would do. Here's what I would do. If you wanted to do the activity yourself, and this also answers the question about where is the preview. And so I'm going to go back. I'm going to leave this activity as a teacher. And I think that was in grade 6, balloon float. So you asked, could I go through this activity as a teacher? So when I scroll down to the bottom, this is where I can do the preview, and this is where I can work through the activity as a teacher. So you can see all of the things that the students would be asked to do. And for right now, if there are things that you do not want them to do, you should just instruct them to skip over. But it's possible that you could delete delete the slides, but we won't have time to do that today.
Monique has a very cool, good chat. That's cool. The teacher guides are very, very good. And on each page, so for example, on each page, they're called teacher moves, which kind of instruct you what you could do on that page. And there are also sample responses. So it's kind of the answer key, if you will. So you don't need to figure out everything on your own, but it is a good idea to just go through the activity and try it as a student would. You cannot add children's names, so you can't create your own class. So you provide the students the link to the activity, and then those students will have to log into the activity. I agree. I agree. The Desmos activities are fantastic, and I don't understand why every math teacher in the United States is not using it. I think they all should be using it now. Not yet, no. It is not time consuming to create. You could create a very short, simple activity where I could have students record their work, answer some questions. I could create multiple choice questions that are graded for me. So it is not time consuming. It's no more time consuming than planning a lesson. So by compatible with Canvas, what I would do is I would just post a link in Canvas. And if my students go to Canvas, they could click on that link. Belinda, you're asked, can you change the preset activities? I think what I would do is I would, you can create your own activities from scratch. Some activities you can change. Let me show you. Let me show you. Like in this activity here, if I go to the top, on the right side, there are three little, maybe I'll get there. My mouse is really kind of weird. There are three little dots. And if it says copy and edit, then what I can do is I can copy and edit this activity. And so I can actually delete some of these slides from this activity. So if there are slides in the activity that are not appropriate, I can delete them, and then I can just, so for example, maybe I don't want to do the 10th one. I can delete that slide. And then I can go up here to the upper right corner and I can click next and publish. This is also where you can translate it. All of those texts are editable, so you can just change the text and then it's in Afrikaans and you can share that with your kids.
You cannot, you can't always edit the activity though, and that's the only bad thing. But you can, if it's editable, you might as well make a copy and edit and change. And it just takes, you know, your kids are going to provide you with grace because they understand that you're learning something new and you're excited. And my students always gave me the benefit of the doubt if things didn't go well, because they also understood that I was trying to do something new. So what, let's see. So one of the questions I saw again is, can you have more than one activity open at the same time? Yes, you can, but it would be really, really hard to keep track of in my mind. So we are using, I'm using Desmos. You guys got into Desmos while we were doing a Zoom. However, what I could do is I could leave this activity. You guys could keep working on the activities. So I don't, as a teacher, I don't need to be in the activity, and the kids can't talk to anybody else within the activity. So it's kind of safe that way. I agree that the elementary activities are going to be awesome for grades 4 and up. I do agree. And this, I've done the same thing. I've assigned the link through Google Classroom. Works exactly the same way. And I agree, the teacher moves. These activities are very, very thoughtful. And so I think that, I think if you use one of these Desmos activities, your students are going to have a good time and they will learn, and it's easy to do. You don't need to recreate the wheel. So if you wanted, there is a Desmos app, but that's for the graphing calculator. If you wanted to go to a Desmos activity, they're going to have to go either like to Safari on an iPad or Chrome. They're going to have to use a browser to access the activities. There's not an app for that, but that's a great question. Great question. So those tick boxes that you check, that's a great question. It just adds functionality to the Desmos activities. And if you wanted to create your own activities, it allows you to kind of take advantage of all that functionality. That's all. But you only have to do that one time. You don't have to do that anymore. If you've checked them today, you're done. You don't have to check them anymore. I think from a remote learning, Lisa, point of view is that I would introduce the activity to the kids, let them work on it at their own time, and you can just check in with them periodically as they go, and then you can provide written feedback to the students. So I think, yes, I think the learners can do their activity on their own time. So the U.S. curriculum, these activities are probably very well aligned with U.S. curriculum. So to see a student response again, let me show you how to do that. So we ran a marble slide activity before. And let me show you this. Look, so this is let me go back to this. So this is going to be because I did that very, very quickly, and I apologize. So I ran an activity before, and I want to find where do I go to find that activity that I ran. And so over on the left-hand side is a button that says history, a link that says history. And so in my history has all of my student work. And I think what I'm going to do is I used this activity here, shifting shapes. I used this activity with 2 teachers yesterday. So I'm going to use that because it will load quickly. And the question was, how do I see student responses? And so in the activity, if I click on one of these tiles at the top, like I want to see their responses for the second page, this is where I can see the individual student responses. So there's two parts to the response. There was a drawing part to the response, and there was a like a short answer part to the response. And I can click on either one. If I click on this part of the response, I get the entire page. I get everything they did. And then I can provide the written feedback by clicking up there at the top. By clicking up there at the top of the page, I can provide the written feedback to the students. So this is what you would do as your students are working through the problem or through the activity through a couple days. You're going in and leaving feedback for them. And you're not going to have 400 students like I had today. You're going to have 50 kids, maybe. Hopefully not 50. Hopefully maybe only 25 kids. So, great questions. So, so typically, so there's a couple of questions I want to answer, and I want to make sure I get my email down there again, so you guys have my email. So you can't set due dates for the activity. It's just you have to go into the activity and pause it, and that'll stop it. They typically add activities, like new activities, on Fridays. There's always something new that seems to pop up on a Friday, but probably every month. And if it's a Desmos activity, it's going to be really, really good there. Oh, that is awesome. Awesome. Let's see. Check your. I think they probably, if the South African curriculum is like the U.S. curriculum, it's going to be pretty much the same.
More or less 80%.
That's
yeah.
It's
so
all.
It's good enough. It's good enough. You the stuff we use some of the stuff, but the general bulk of it's the same.
And so the question is, there's no function where the students can collaborate and see each other's screens and speak to one another. I think what I would do if you wanted that to happen, I would make sure that the kids were working on the activity at the same time, and that they were in they were chatting over a Google Meet in some way. Nicely done. So you guys have figured out the secrets to getting to activities. Yes. So so how do you run and start an activity from the teacher side? So here's what I do is if I know an activity that I really, really like, so for example, I will go into I'm just going to use this activity here. If you scroll down a little bit, there'll be a big green button on your left-hand side of the screen. And that big green button will allow you to create a class code. And then you view the dashboard, and that's how you can see the activity. And that starts the activity. And so now you guys can get into that activity because that activity is now live. So kids, this is, man, oh man, oh man. I can use this for assessments. I think probably this is better for a formative assessment than it would be for a summative assessment, but again, it could be used. So let me give you my email again at the bottom of the screen in the chat. And I know you're not on Twitter.
Only 2% of them are on Twitter already.
What on earth is going on? Yeah. Math Tech Coach is my handle on Twitter. If you email me, if you email me or message me on Twitter, I will get back to you. And I'm also on Facebook too. I think if you go sphelps31415, you'll find me on Facebook as well. Do the kids do not need to download anything, so when they go there, they're good? He only speaks in percent. Is that true? John, is that true? You only speak in percents?
More or less.
So guys, I've got to go. I'm going to see if my power's back on. I doubt if it is, but I need to get ready for another meeting at 9 o'clock. John, we will talk more about this because I think this is going to be good. And guys, I really do appreciate everyone playing along. To have almost 500 people in a Desmos activity is crazy.
Yeah. Thank you, Steve. Thank you for your time. We really do appreciate it. Good luck. And then you and I will chat about maybe follow-up sessions. And yes, I'll respond to the questions that the teachers have. And you can also, if they email you, respond. Remember to email him in English, not in Afrikaans, please.
Please, yes. I'll email you back and let you know it needs to be in English. That's the only thing. But I could probably translate through Google Translate.
No, don't do that. It sounds horrible.
Okay.
Please remember to complete the polls. And yes, thank you, Steve. And then I'll be in touch with you guys via email.
Guys, stay safe.
Thanks,
See you
Steve.
all.
Bye.
Bye.
Vir die wat nog opbly, ek wil net vinnig noem, ek sal binnekort vir julle e-pos stuur met al die inligting, hoe om jou sertifikaat in die hande te kry, hoe om aan te sluit by die VAW. Ek sien byvoorbeeld 124 van julle is nie by die VAW nie. So ons as 'n vakvereniging wil hierdie al hoe meer en meer doen, maar vir dit kort ons bietjie hulpbronne en julle deelname aan ons vakvereniging gee vir ons die vermoë om hierdie groter te doen. So ons sal dit anders doen. Wat baie lekker en opwindend vir my is by my polls, ek sien dat 99% van julle sal weer 'n webinar wil doen. Dit is nogal cool. So ons sal ek gaan dit probeer weekliks doen, andersins 2 weekliks. En ek sal vir julle in 'n e-pos vra watter tyd pas julle die beste, maar dit is eintlik ook dis nie iets wat kan werk en dat almal se skedules lyk anders. Dankie vir julle awesome terugvoer hier in die kant. Ek gaan nou rukkie lank hierso lees. En as julle dan spesifieke vrae het, stuur dit vir my e-pos. Joann@skole.co.za. Ek sien my 8ste vraag het ek verkeerdelik bewoord. Dit is ek is nie bewus van enige onderwysers by my skool wat aan die SOS se vakverenigings behoort nie. Met ander woorde, jy het nog nooit gehoor van ons of wat ons doen ensovoorts nie. Jammer vir daai slegte bewoording. Elmer het my attent gemaak op. Dankie Elmer, ek waardeer dit. So nou kan julle, as julle nie verder vrae in die chat het nie, ek sal vir nog so 10 minuutjies so opbly en probeer byhou, maar julle beweeg die spoed van wit lig. Dan kan julle maar die meeting leave en maar onthou net om eers die polls te antwoord. Dit sal baie waardeer word. So ek sien net klomp dankies. As julle kan vir Steve 'n dankie e-pos stuur in Engels. Ek bedoel, daai man het vroeg opgestaan. Hy doen hierdie verniet. Hy wil nie geld hê nie, so ek moet nog 'n manier kry by hom geld uit te kry want hy wil dit nie aanvaar nie. So ja, skrim min sulke mense. Julle het ook 'n mooi dag hê. Geniet hierdie lang naweek. Daar voel nie regtig 'n verskil nie. Ek wonder of paaseiers essential is, want ek moet vandag 'n paaseiers koop. Baie dankie. So ek gaan probeer vir julle opsomming Word-dokument stuur. Ek gaan probeer vir julle oulike aktiwiteite kry. Ek as die VAW gaan probeer van die aktiwiteite self vertaal en dit dan vir julle stuur. Ek dink dit gaan julle 'n bietjie tyd spaar, so ek gaan my bes doen daarop. Maar bly net met my in kontak. As julle op die portaal is, ek gaan gereeld e-posse uitstuur. Ja. OK, almal het gewout. So ek kan nie is net klomp baie dankies. Dit is so cool om te sien. Al is al die onnies Engels, as daar iemand in Suid-Afrikaans is, ons materiaal, ons het 'n gestandaardiseerde eksamen, dis awesome. So oor die 30,000 kinders wat omskryf, en dan stuur ons 'n verslag uit, as jy meer oor dit wil weet, kan jy my op e-pos. Ons stel al die eksamens vir julle op, julle hoef dit nie meer te doen nie, is in Word, jy kan self edit. Al die toetse, projekte, opdragte, doen ons vir jou. Wiskunde geletterdheid, tegniese wiskunde. So e-pos, as julle my wil e-pos, joann@skole.co.za. Joann met 1 N. Yes, 86 nuwe chats, en ek hou net aan scroll. OK, weer my e-pos, Joann@skole.co.za. Mooi Afrikaans vir daai @ OK, moet ek nie winkel toe gaan nie, is reg, Jolande. So my vrou stuur. So lidmaatskap by VAW strek van Januarie tot einde Desember elke jaar. So hoe later jy aansluit, hoe minder gaan jy van ons hulpbronne kan gebruik maak. So is beter om dit nou te doen. Dankie Renel, jy stem saam, paaseiers is belangrik. Ek sal Steve se e-posadres vir julle almal e-pos, want om nou op te scroll na 600 messages. OK, so ek sien baie mense van julle vra dit. Dis 'n plesier oor die reëlings. Al is jou kinders Engels en jy is Afrikaans, gaan die VLW nog steeds vir jou baie baat. Jy gaan nog steeds baie baat vind daarby. Jy is as gevolg van opleiding soos hierdie en ons sal dit gratis probeer hou. Dit kry ons net reg as julle almal aansluit. Ek sien almal vra vir Steve se e-pos. We want more. Okay. Strictas is actual uit. So, dankie. Monique. Ek hoop ek spreek dit reg uit. Nog nooit daai spelling gesien nie. Daar's hy, Brandon, ek gaan daai weer kopie. Ek gaan hom nou weer paste. Self ek wat 'n BC is kom vandag by jou. Is 'n BC soos 'n vorige generasie mens. Soos 'n baby boomer. Koste aan die VLW is R239 per jaar per onnie. Dit is, werk jou uit soos 3 sent 'n hulpbron. Gaan kyk maar op Teachers by Teachers en op Facebook, jy betaal baie meer. En wat lekker is, ons stel mense aan. Ons kom gou agter as iemand se kwaliteit nie goed is en stel ons daai persoon nie weer aan nie of ons sal daai persoon mentor, dit hang af wat se hoedanigheid daai persoon is. Maar kry ons die persoon om vir ons hulpbronne op te stel, ons gee hulle vir hulle geld, so julle kan ook aansoek doen, ons stuur so 1 keer per jaar aansoeke uit. En dan betaal ons hulle, dis hoekom ons moet geld vra, sodat ons hulle kan betaal om die hulpbronne op te stel. En dan kan jy ook jou kinders blootstel aan hulpbronne wat uit ander provinsies uitkom of ensovoort. So as jy lid word, dan kry jy toegang van ons hulpbronne van 2018 af, so dis so oor die 3000 hulpbronne. Dit is werkkaarte per afdeling van die CAPS van graad 4 tot 12. Dan is dit toetse, projekte ensovoort. Dit is, ja, VLW is van 4 tot 12. Grade 4 tot 12. Privaat skoolmense kan aansluit, al wie nie mag aansluit is mense wat net ekstra klasse gee nie, want hulle lek gewoonlik ons goeders uit en ons wil nie dit graag hê nie. Ek dink meeste van ons kan daarby saamstem. Ons probeer op ons portaal vryhou van enige ouers. Behalwe as jy ouer onderwyser is, ek ons niets omtrent doen nie. So ons probeer dit redelik veilig hou, sodat julle dit met gerusheid kan gebruik. Ek sien iemand sê net iets van Volkskool. Ja, Volkskool is amazing. En hy groei ook eksponensieel. So dit is lekker. As jy, Christy het my gevra oor die aktiwiteit, as jy daai aktiwiteit inklik, dan kan jy nie, hy sal die behoort jou direk te vat na die aktiwiteit toe. Hoeveel mense het ons nou nog hieroor? 127. Kan ons ergens die Volkskool sessies weer kyk? Ja, na die lockdown gaan alles weer op Volkskool wees. Ek sal hulle vra of dit vroeër kan doen, maar bro, ons het oor die 50.000 aansoeke vir registrasies vir Volkskool om ons kapasiteit brand uit. Dis een baie lekker probleem om te hê. Hulpbronne is slegs in Afrikaans, maar dis in Word formaat, so jy kan dit vertaal, so dit halveer jou vertalingswerk. Volkskool na die lockdown is R200 per kind per jaar as die skool aansluit. So dit sal hoor, ons is nie uit om ryk te word nie, maar ons moet ons self dra. Okay, dan gaan ek ook vir julle binnekort 'n YouTube video stuur hoe om jou sertifikaat in die hande te kry. Julle is die bitter einders. Julle is al mense wat in pauze nog sit en wag na die klok gelei het. Wel dan. As jy wil uitlok, rechtsonder is daar dingetjie wat sê leave meeting. Parallel medium skole, so van die skole gebruik Volkskool, maar hulle gee vir die kinders 4 opsies. So dit Volkskool, Siavula, vir die Engelse kinders. Ons het ook baie materiaal vir Engels, so ons het Khan Academy en ons ander platforms ook. So, nie Volkskool met jy parallel medium is nie, maar ja, jy kan dit nie as 'n beleid uitrol nie. is dit Drini of Drenai? Ek weet nie lekker om dit uit te spreek nie, het jy FOMO. So jy gaan wag, dit gaan op die einde net ek en jy weet. So die video van vandag gaan ek weer vir julle beskikbaar stel. Ek moet dit nou eers redigeer en verwerk ensovoorts en dan sal ek dit vir julle stuur. Almal het gepols, so dankie. Ek sien hulle is stadig maar seker besig om te leave. Regs onder in die hoek as jy wil leave. God, share ek die poll results met julle. Dan kan julle die poll results sien. Wel. Gesien 'n pas is julle ook. Het is wonderlik dat ons dit saam met ons familie kan spandeer en nie op 'n sporttoer is nie. Dankie Brenda. Of Brenda. Joann, as jy lid is, het jy slegs toegang tot een vak. Jy kan nog vakke bysit. So party mense is byvoorbeeld wiskunde en wetenskap, want hulle albei by, maar dan is dit 'n ekstra R239. Dis nou as jy skool betaal. As 'n individu betaal is dit R409, so kry jy dat jy skool om te betaal. Registreer dit dan as 'n skool en nie as 'n individu. So dan kry jy 'n invoice en jy gee daai invoice se finansies hulle betaal. Of jy kan betaal net terugklein by finansies. Ja, Charlotte, platteland, ons kan uiteindelik by die platteland uitkom sonder dit 'n arm en 'n been kos. Okay, so ons het die bittereinders, hoeveel is hulle? 38. Okay, ek gaan die meeting close in so 3 minute. Dalk is nog mense wat 'n paar vragies het. Ons kongresse, ons gaan definitief iets online doen. Ons gaan nou net uitvind of ons iets mag fisies ook doen. So ons wil dalk 'n kombinasie van die twee doen. Maar ons is nou besig om te gesels daaroor. Ons sal maar wag vir die president se kennisgewing, want ek bedoel as hy sê dan mag nie meer as 100 mense vir die volgende 3 maande bymekaar kom nie, dan help dit nie ons hele kongresie. So ons wag vir daai inligting, maar as daar nie 'n fisiese een is nie, gaan daar definitief 'n virtuele een wees. So die ander platform is GeoGebra. Ek werk maar net met GeoGebra en Desmos. Die ander is nie regtig vir my lekker nie. Ek het hulle nog nie onder die knie nie. Sien Antoinette vra dit. Dis baie lekker as julle so positief is. Jy sê ek het gestres. Sure. Dit moet nooit wat met tegnologie kan gebeur wanneer jy dit wil gebruik nie. Okay, nog so 'n minuut. Het lyk of hulle. Ja, die kongres se datums is tans op ons webwerf. Die webwerf se naam is skole.co.za. So dan kan jy daar so die kongres se datums kry. Maar as die datum sou verander, sal ons julle almal in kennis stel. Ek hou ook meer van hierdie, want dan hoef ek nie weg te ry van my gesin af nie. Dis baie lekkerder. Waardeer julle positiwiteit. Okay, dis 10. As jy nou dringende vrae is, nou jy tyd om te vra. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Julle is die bittereinders. Julle is die rots waarop onderwys gebou is. Totsiens.